State of the franchise for the Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers recently fired head coach Anthony Lynn after 4 years as head coach with the team. Now, the Los Angeles Chargers, I believe, are trending in the right direction. If the LA Chargers bring in the right head coach, this should be a playoff caliber football team come the 2021 NFL season. Because when you look at this roster has a lot of talent. When you look at the offensive side of football, you have Keenan Allen, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. You got Mike Williams, who also had a pretty good season. You got wide receiver Jalen Guyton, who showed a couple of flashes of potential this past year in 2020. You have Austin Eckler in the backfield. And you have this phenomenal quarterback named Justin Herbert, who is the greatest rookie quarterback in NFL history. On the defensive side of football, you're not too shabby also. You got Joey Bosa, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. You're going to have Derwin James coming back fully healthy after not playing a single snap of the 2020 NFL season. You got Chris Harris Jr., who, although he's getting a little bit up there in age, he's still one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. I still think that he is a top 15 cornerback right now in the league. So the LA Chargers, you bring in the right head coach like Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, Joe Brady, the OC for the Carolina Panthers, or Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. If you bring in one of those three guys, I think those would be home run hires. I really want to see the LA Chargers hire Eric Bieniemy. And the reason why I want to see the Chargers hire Eric Bieniemy is because, first, he is an offensive-minded coach. Second, it's because he was the former offensive coordinator for Kansas City. Therefore, spending a lot of time with Patrick Mahomes, he knows Patrick Mahomes' strengths and he also knows his weakness as well, which is really good because when you look at how dominant the Kansas City Chiefs have been in terms of winning the AFC West ever since Andy Reid has became the head coach of Kansas City a couple of years back, Kansas City has ran wild with the AFC West ever since. So you're going to have some competition in the division if you're Kansas City, if Eric Bieniemy goes to the LA Chargers. And if you are a Chiefs fan, you don't want Eric Bieniemy to end up becoming the next head coach for the LA Chargers because that could spark a lot of trouble for you because he has worked with Patrick Mahomes more than anybody else. He knows his strengths. He knows his weaknesses. So if you are a Chiefs fan, the last guy who I would want to see become the head coach for the Chargers would be Eric Bieniemy. Now, you also can't go wrong with Joe Brady. Joe Brady has a lot of doubters out there because he only has been the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers for 1 year. But they said the same thing about Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur, I believe, was only the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans for 1 season before he ended up getting hired as a head coach for the Green Bay Packers, which a lot of people didn't like the hire. A lot of people thought it was one of the worst hires of the offseason. Matt LaFleur comes around, takes the Green Bay Packers to the NFC Championship game and exceeds expectations. Then this year, everybody thought that the Green Bay Packers were going to take a step back because everybody thought that the Green Bay Packers 2019-2020 NFL season was a fluke, and they ended up replicating that same amount of success this year, clinching the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. So if the LA Chargers bring in the right coach, they could be in the playoffs next year, and they could compete with the Kansas City Chiefs because the Kansas City Chiefs are not just this flawless football team like everybody else makes them out to be. Their division is a cakewalk. You play the Broncos, you play the Raiders, you play the Chargers. 3 franchises who haven't really had a lot of success over the past decade, aside from the Denver Broncos winning the Super Bowl back in 2015 and a couple of good seasons with Peyton Manning at the helm at quarterback. But aside from that, this division over the last 4 years hasn't been all that competitive. For the LA Chargers, if you bring in the right head coach, I think that you could contend with Kansas City. That's how good I believe the LA Chargers are. For the Chargers, though, you do have some holes that you have to fill up on this roster, though, before you can officially consider yourself to be a playoff caliber football team next year. First thing you have to do is you have to address the offensive line. Pouncey isn't getting any older at center. Could look to find some alternatives to him. You have to improve the offensive line. You need to bring in the offensive guard or the offensive tackle because right now, your offensive line, I don't think it's bad, but it's not great. Now, on the defense side of football, you need to bring in another pass rusher, maybe try to bring in some more linebacker depth also, and I think some added depth at corner wouldn't hurt you also. So the biggest things that the Chargers need to focus on this offseason is focusing on the pass rush position. Okay, you need to drastically improve the offensive line because you have to protect your franchise quarterback. You need to protect your investment. For the Chargers ownership, I think the Chargers ownership is now starting to hit a corner because the Cincinnati Bengals and the LA Chargers are known for being two of the cheapest franchises in the NFL because they have owners that are really conservative with spending their money. They don't like to spend and they don't like to splurge in free agency. They don't like to try to pay big money to get a big-time head coach. But it looks like the Chargers are now starting to turn the corner because they fired Anthony Lynn, which a lot of you Chargers fans out there knew that Anthony Lynn had to go, but a good amount of you guys, I would say at least 60 to 55% of you guys, believe that Anthony Lynn would return, considering the fact that the Chargers ownership is fairly cheap and they don't like to spend money trying to find good coaches. They basically go like, you ever went into Walmart and you see the Raisin Bran cereal, and right next to the Raisin Bran cereal, you see the Great Value brand Raisin Bran cereal or the Great Value Frosted Flakes? That's what the LA Chargers are. They're cheap. They don't try to get the big smash mouth hire. They always try to find the cheaper alternative. So for the LA Chargers, they have been interested in Eric Bieniemy. They've been interested in Joe Brady. They've been interested in Brian Daboll. All three of those coaches are being heavily touted for head coaching gigs this offseason. They also have a little bit of interest in Robert Saleh. So I like the names that I'm hearing when it comes to the head coaching search for the LA Chargers. Haven't really heard any name that has been whacked. They haven't had any whack interviews aside from Jason Garrett, which I know gave a lot of Chargers fans scares. But let's be honest, I don't see the Chargers hiring him. So for the LA Chargers, if you are a Chargers fan, you have to be really excited about what the future has in store for your franchise, because if you bring in the right head coach, you could be a playoff caliber football team come next year. Justin Herbert, in my opinion, is already a top 10 quarterback, along with Cincinnati Bengals quarterback and fellow rookie quarterback right now, Joe Burrow. So you look at how great Justin Herbert was his rookie season. He hasn't even reached his full potential. Imagine what's going to happen if you bring in the offensive-minded head coach who can truly unlock the abilities of Justin Herbert. It would be like when Goku went Ultra Instinct and he finally mastered it in his final fight against Jiren. Like, that would be incredible. Like, you bring in the right offensive-minded football coach and pair him up with Justin Herbert. Oh my God. Justin Herbert could end up being the most talented quarterback in NFL history when it's all said and done if you bring in the right head coach. And I really want to see Eric Bieniemy end up as the head coach for the LA Chargers. So let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section down below. How do you guys feel about the state of the franchise for the LA Chargers? I love to hear you guys' feedback. Make sure that if you guys haven't already, that you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and college football videos. And thank you guys for watching.